What is going on, Herd? Welcome back to the channel and thanks for tuning in to another video. So when you consider the battles of the drift cars, what's the best drift car? Which one should I be getting into next? There's always going to come the battle, Schwarzer versus Rapid GT. And we're going to be taking these things out one by one and testing them and see what they're like for drift cars, guys. Tag along, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let's get into the information. I know that drifts too. I know that drifts. You tell me bad. You gotta tell me stuff that I know that stuff. Well, here's the deal, guys. You're not building a community, obviously. I am, alright? And there's a lot of new people on the Black Sheep TV channel. I thank everybody that's new. I thank everybody that's supporting the channel, alright? But here's the deal. Just because you know something does not mean the next person that's watching the channel knows it. And we need to basically fill in all the voids on the channel. So we're going back on Season 2 of Does It Drift, and we're going to start analyzing some of these cars that actually do drift and actually are worth your money. Now, when it comes to drifting in GTA Online, there is so much just hoopla when it comes down to it. Oh, listen to this guy, he's not using mods. Yeah, we're playing Xbox One here. I don't know where you're getting the mod thing from. If you're just trying to drift this car that you just pulled out of your garage, yeah, it's probably not the easiest thing to drift. It actually doesn't drift at all. Yeah, he's using mods. I put it in a dang guardrail back there. Of course I had to do that. Anyways, all I was saying, guys, is if this is an information that you want to build off of, that's all right. Don't come crying on my channel, all right? I'm not going to listen to your moaning and groaning. So what you're seeing here is called stancing the car. You've seen it drop in 2 different increments. It happens on all 4 wheels. You cannot do this with every vehicle in this same manner, but you can stance every vehicle in GTA. Technically, what it's trying to do there, guys, is it's messing with your drive line. You just see me pull the car out of the garage. Oh, and we're in the wall. Here's the deal, guys. I know how to stance both the vehicles up. Super easy. They both stance up just the traditional stance. But right now, today is going to be the day where we're going to go out and drift these things. And we're really going to stack them together. So what's the difference between this season and last season? What's changed? Well, it's the technique that's changed. And that's, well, it's a pretty major thing in drifting, isn't it? Especially when we're using the technique that is much slower. What we've been doing from the beginning on this video is the clutch kicking, speed boost glitch, double clutching. Whatever community you're in GTA, those are terms that are used in GTA. Yeah, they're not accurate to real world, so don't even go down that line. These are terms that are used to make less confusion in the GTA community because they're already established terms in the GTA community. So you're using that. If you don't know how to do that, we have a high-speed tutorial, and it's teaching you how to do this technique in this car. We will be moving into another tutorial in the future where you actually get to see the controller view. I know that there's just those couple little voids even in the tutorial sense that people just aren't quite getting with this technique, with the more advanced technique. Yeah, so we got to go back and kind of cover everything, get everybody covered. Oh, man. I haven't drifted this car in so long. So here's the next thing you're going to be noticing. Notice how the car is now shaking? That is because I've damaged the suspension even more, and it's not what you want to do. You don't want to crash your drift car as soon as you get it all stanced up. So no matter when you've joined the channel, you can still follow the channel in sequence in the sense that it's supposed to be laid out. And if you're brand new to drifting and you don't know how to drift, go drift with the Futo unstanced and just kind of learn the single gear drifting technique. Learn how to, you know, utilize the body momentum and inertia and learning those movements in cars. And you can single gear drift in a lot more cars than you can with this technique, with the higher technique. And no, what I'm doing here with just the pulling a handbrake, that's not really drifting. See how I powered out of it? That made that a drift, but you need to link it up with another drift to actually, you know, count it as competitive drifting. If you're just handbrake sliding, that's actually a power slide is what it's classified as, and that's an engagement tactic. You engage with a power slide or a Scandinavian flick to get into a drift. Sometimes those power slides are fun. I mean, I can't deny it. So now I fixed my car. Did you notice how my suspension went back to normal? It's because I was damaging it. So now we got to go back and damage it. Let's go try a couple of those slides with this car. The car that's not stance. Let's go try some of those same handbrake engagements. Oh boy. Or why is my car not stancing? Because you have bulletproof tires. You can't have bulletproof tires. Yeah, you can have bulletproof tires. No, you can't. And stance your vehicle. Why would I spread false information? Yet I get the stupid comments like that. Yeah, you really can't power slide nearly as much. It just wants to throw you into a spin out. We're going to get this thing a grade, and we got a whole nother car to review in this episode, so we got to get it moving. I think one of the biggest things to note in this car is even though it's, it can drift under that high-speed technique, like I call it, the speed boost glitch, the faster, definitely the faster and more competitive styles of drifting. The fact of the matter is it's still a slower car with that technique, so it allows people to come from the Futo, learn the higher speed technique, and at the same time, they're going to get to, still not drift extremely fast and twitchy. And they're still not going to have to go as fast and be as responsive and all that stuff as you would to have to be in, like, the Rapid GT or the 900R is another one. There's a lot of vehicles out there that are... See, I haven't driven the Schwarzer in so long that I'm having more fun with, like, the really high-speed stuff like this, where it's more... Ah, man. It's definitely a power slide. That was a power slide there, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get up to speed before I do it, and I'm going to link it into a drift. Oh, yeah, the whole deal is you can't just go around a corner and slide and be like this. Ah, you check that drift, bro. That drift was sick. That was a sick drift. I mean, it was kind of a drift. I get why you're getting confused, but really, drifting is keeping the car in that state. So now, if you're going... Oh, I can't believe that guy lived from that. The whole deal with power sliding is it's only like the first half of your drift. Even if it was a minimal drift, you have to link it to the next line a little bit. Or at least continue it going. The thing is, you can't continue it going by just pulling on a handbrake. Eventually, you're going to stop. Oh, man. So we're out of control there. Eventually, you're going to stop if you just rely on the handbrake, right? That's why you need power. So that's why you're using that clutch kicking technique to get you up into the power, just like this. So we're pretty much seeing what this thing is capable of. It's a good drift car. It's one of the best drift cars by far. So let's get this thing a grade. We got cost. Now cost, I always suggest if you can get this thing for free, go get it for free. And I would definitely not suggest going and spending the $80,000 they want in-game. Go get it for free. You can find it. It spawns a little more rare than some of the other, frequent spawning cars. But go down in the city in Los Santos, and this thing should pop up for you eventually. If you're not seeing it, just keep going into new sessions every 5 minutes or so until this is one of the spawn set cars, and you'll get your hands on it. It's called the Benefactor Schwarzer. So if you get it for free, then you're just paying for you're paying for the insurance and the tracker. So I will meander my way over to Los Santos Customs, and I will show you guys what we have done to this build to get it to this point. Keep in mind, the stancing is one of the most important parts on any drift car in GTA. We are on normal GTA Online. There's no mods. There's not even really any glitches. I mean, people call it the speed boost glitch, but it's in the data. You're just damaging your car. People are very confused out there, and I just don't see... I get that you're spread a lot of false information on YouTube, but you need to, give me a chance before you chuck me down like that. Alright, so armor, we never put any armor on our drift vehicles. At most, it's 20%, but still, that's only on a couple of vehicles, and it's for a stancing reason. Brakes, I don't personally put any brakes, but this is going to be your set preference. Bumpers, we do have a front bumper on that. We got that intercooler bumper. The rear bumper, we stay away from the diffuser. They affect the performance slightly once it's stanced. I don't know why. I can't answer that question. No, it doesn't. Look at the legend. Top speed. Oh, it doesn't do... Yeah, it does. Again, I'm not going to spread false information. I've been drifting on this game for 10 months now, YouTubing predominantly as drifting on GTA. I know what's going on here. So we don't do the diffuser. Engine all the way up, that's crucial. Exhaust, we did pretty much put whatever you really want on there for exhaust, but... just switch it. Grill, hood, did the carbon fiber. Not sure if I got headlights on there or not. They fit that build though, don't they? Maybe we'll put them on there. Lost and Theft, got that. Respray, we just went with the blue. I think this is actually kind of an expensive color, so we won't count that into consideration. But we do got the roll cage. Now roll cage is something, again, it's just slight. It is very slight, but it will affect your performance. That's another thing I should say. Oops. Lights. If you put on neon lights it will affect your performance. Once it's stanced, I don't know exactly what it's doing or why it coincides like that with the damage, but it's stickier. You get more traction. It's not as good. It's the same thing with, we'll get down to it. Roof, we went with the carbon fiber because we went with it on the top. Some people say that affects your performance. I haven't noticed it personally, but I'm not going to say one way or another. Skirts, we did put some skirts on there. Spoiler, you want to stay away from a spoiler pretty much on every vehicle other than like 2. There's probably a few more than 2. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's not many, and this one definitely is not one. Putting a spoiler, if you notice down on that legend we were just talking about, it does affect the traction ever so slightly, so you don't want that. Traction is not something you want when drifting in this game. Street suspension. Sport suspension is going to be your other good choice here, but street suspension seems to be a little more controllable with the car, in my opinion. Transmission, the race transmission is going to be critical. Turbo is going to be critical. Wheels. Your best wheels are debated between SUV and muscle for drifting for the most slippery. In the middle is going to be sports, lowrider, and high-end and tuner are your, and definitely off-road, but I don't see anybody drifting off-road. Those are slightly more sticky. It's not much, again, guys. It's very, very little, but definitely a fact. And again, do not, I repeat, do not put on the bulletproof tires. As you see, we do not have any bulletproof tires. It wants to charge me $25,000. No, thank you. Windows, we got that dark limo. Some people don't put any tint in there because they got the roll cage. They like the way it looks. A lot of people put that roll cage in there too, even though it messes with the traction a little bit, just because a lot of real drift cars, a lot of tracks, they make you have a cage if you're going to have someone as a ride-along in your car. So cost, all in all, it's like right around $110,000. 125,000, probably right in that area. That's if you get the car for free, put the tracker on it, get it all up to this standard. You might be able to go up in the 200,000, 225,000 if you get the crazy paint and do everything to it, but this thing pretty much has everything to it, and I'd say we're probably right around that 125 to 135,000 range. That's going to bring us into cost. Now the deal is what's the ratio to cost? You're paying a lot, what are you getting out of it? You're getting a lot. So I have to give it a 10 where 10 is due. Even though this car is beat out here and there by other cars in the game, this car is always going to be a top-notch drifter. So cost, it's got a 10. That's going to bring us into driftability. Now driftability in this car, it's very unique, alright? More slippery than the Rapid GT. I will definitely say that. It's more slippery than the Rapid GT, but it's also slower than the Rapid GT, which means you're not going to be able to link as cool of looking as lines. Now, don't get me wrong, if you start ripping the handbrake from this top speed like this, as we were doing on the highway with this earlier, needless to say, the driftability on this car is still superb. I am going to hit it slightly. It's a little slower than the Rapid GT, but I'm going to give it a 9.5. I feel like there's a slight bit of room. I'm going to give it a 9. I feel like there's a little room that this thing could have to really get it that 10, and that would be a little bit more responsiveness with the speed boost glitch engagement, the clutch kicking engagement, that technique of engaging that speed boost. Needless to say, whatever you want to call that out there. I know I'm never going to make everybody happy with any term I choose. Oh, come on, make it over that. But anyways, that's a big factor, so I'm going to give it a 9 on that, and then just simply how slow, once it does engage, it's slower than the rest of the field. That's going to bring us into efficiency for this car. Now, efficiency is top-notch. Again, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. It's a 10 out of 10. Your stance is up normally. It's a great car for free mode sessions. You're not going to have to worry about blowing it up. It takes a fair amount of damage before you have to go and restance it. There you go. It's a 29 out of 30 on the Schwarzer. As I said, guys, I think we all know that that is one of the greatest drift cars in the game. As we close the door to arguably the best drift car in the game, according to many in the community, we have the Dubachi Rapid GT. Now, this car cannot be found on the street. Well, it can be, but it cannot be customized off of the street. You have to go buy it. Thankfully, it's not a very expensive car. You'll have this version of the hardtop, and you will have a version of the convertible. I definitely suggest this version over the convertible, although I don't know of any like big differentiators in the handling between those two. So some of you out there are going to be saying, well, you got SUV tires on this one, and then you got sports tires on that one, and it's not really accurate. Well, here's the deal, guys. It is very accurate. This is actually preferable in how I want to do this, simply because these are both my preferred builds. These are the builds that I would be taking out to the track. If you said Schwarzers only, that would be the car that's hitting the track. If you told me Rapid GT only, this is the car that'd be hitting the track. There's no questions about it. Now, I did make a recent switch to SUV tire compound. I just had a weird experience with the muscle. It wasn't that muscle has changed or anything, and then I never did switch back. I really was preferring the muscle, but ever since I switched to SUV, it's just different, guys. You're going to have a slight difference. It's RPM and speed differences that you're going to notice, and I don't know. Both of them have their options, the SUV and the muscle. have their options that are really, well, they're going to be up to you, aren't they? This thing is much more controlled. It's much more to the ground. It's much more like, I'll get right up to the corner of that wall and we'll be doing some drifting tonight, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I straightened out. It also likes to straighten out a little bit. Likes to straighten out a little bit more than the Schwarzer, and it also doesn't take nearly the amount of damage. Mainly in the rear, though. Like, from the rear tires and... Oh, no! No. Talking, not concentrating. As I was saying, mainly in the rear, so thankfully we crashed in the front, but it's still gonna mess with our steering now. You can notice how I messed with my wheel. It's all bouncy. I messed my car up right away, immediately. I stanced it. Now, this is an issue. You just spent money on ammunition to get it stanced up, and see, I can't turn to the right because my left tire is all messed up. So now I got to go drive all the way back to wherever the heck I got to go, and we got to fix this. We got to fix this dang car. How do you know when to re-stance your car? That is a great question if you have that on your mind right now. You're going to know either by looking at your car when you're driving straight, and it's bouncing all over the place. Now, if it's bouncing immediately when you stance it, well, just kind of pay attention to other people. Maybe ask them the question if they have some knowledge and say, is this traditional with this car, or am I doing something wrong? But if you do get your car stanced up and it's not shaking all about, all over the place, you're clearly seeing it's a nice, smooth riding car, and then you crash it, and you see in that it's bouncing, that's going to be time. Now, I seen that my front wheels were bouncing, and I also noticed I didn't have the steering radius, so that's what killed me here. There's not a lot of places to drift in this dang county. That's the problem. Oh my God. Wow. This is why you traditionally will see me bring cars to the track. I hate dealing with traffic in this game, especially when you're trying to get somewhere quick and you have a car that's extremely slippery. Because now my car's thrashed and I can't do anything with it. Here's the thing that I'm noticing immediately is I hadn't drifted that Schwarzer in so long that I ended up driving it around for almost 40 minutes of record time. And now, the car that I've been spending all my time in, I can hardly drift. They are two completely opposite animals, and that's the whole point of this video. And I think should have been the point of the first video, but it just, I wasn't knowledgeable enough on both of the techniques to be able to dial it in this way, to really calibrate it down. This car is like a competitive style car, and the Schwarzer is like a go out on the street and just rip it up kind of a car. Now, the thing with the Schwarzer is you just can't link some things that you would really want to link, and this car gets really, really close to linking those things, like really close to linking some of those things that you want to, and still remaining in a drift, too. That's the big thing. I'm trying to find some place where we can show you something to do with this car, but... Jesus, it's like this is the most bumpy and disgusting roads. You can't drift anything out here. Making for a terrible video, but I don't just dare give this thing preferential treatment. I need to drift it down the same dang roads that I drifted the Schwarzer down. That's the whole point of videos. The AI police and the AI people in this game are just absolutely disgusting. Yeah. God, traffic right there. Could have linked in a nice... I'm going back to that one. Let's get into this thing, though. Cost. As I said, you can't go pick this thing up on the street. It's too high. It's a too high end of a car. It's a high-end car in the view of Rockstar, so you have to go buy it. Luckily, like I said, it's affordable. I think it's like $110,000 or something like that. Again, the customizations are pretty affordable on it as well. It's not one that's going to break the bank, which is nice. It's not like the 900R or some of the other vehicles. Man, this one was terrible because I'm talking again. Anyways, let's just get into grading this thing, because I'm going to start frustrating myself trying to talk and drift at the same time. Cost on this thing, you're at about the $200,000 to $250,000 mark, realistically speaking, probably in that $250,000 mark. Probably $300,000, $325,000 if you really deck it all out all the way up to the top. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, give or take a little bit. what you're getting out of it, again, very unique. Some people are going to prefer this thing in 10 folds over the Schwarzer. Some people are going to prefer the Schwarzer in 10 folds over this. You're never going to make everybody happy, and I think I'm going to go back to that parking lot and mess around a little bit. Never going to make everybody happy, and it's really going to depend on what style of drifting are you trying to get done at that exact point in time. Not like what style are you in general. I mean, like, what style are you trying to get done? Because they are two different styles of drift cars. They really are. Like, you're not going to get the same thing out of both of them. You might be able to do some of the same things with it, but all in all, it's not going to be quite the same job getting done. And once it is done, this car is going to do it quicker than the other one. And because this thing can drift faster than the Schwarzer, it can link longer lines because technically it's covering more area. So cost of what you're getting out of it, again, I'm going to give it a 10 for different reasons, for those reasons stated, and that's going to bring us into driftability. Now, driftability, I'm going to hit it slightly again. I wish that, I wish it wouldn't straighten out quite as easy as it does. It likes to straighten out. And I also wish that the damage, when it went into, and I know that kind of goes into efficiency, but I'm kind of keeping that in the driftability because that's what's affected directly by the damage, is the driftability. It hops your car around, and once you get a little, like I'll show you all it takes. A little bam like that, and all of a sudden your tire's all messed up. And there it is. See how this one's just a little bit cambered, and all of a sudden this one's all jacked up and crooked. The worst thing you can do in these cars, though, is hit the back of the car in that motion, or you're going to get damage in the back of the car. That's going to make you bounce around, as it did. I seen a little bit of bounce in there. And the bouncing, then when you go to slide in on that corner, so the bouncing's from the left damage. That damage in the rear is going to make your clutch kick a lot less efficient, a lot less engaging, and it's going to make you spin out a lot easier, basically, is what I'm saying. So I'm going to give it a 9 in driftability, and that brings us into efficiency. Now, efficiency, since we hit it there on the driftability, that's the only thing that's not efficient about this car. You pull it right out of your garage, you stance it up in the same concept as you do the Schwarzer, and then you're set to go. You're drifting. It's a 10. What does that bring us to? 29 out of 30. What did the Schwarzer score? 29 out of 30. The Rapid GT build is super easy, so we're not going to spend much time at all on there. It's exactly the same with the armor, the brakes, the chassis. We did do the roll cage, so the same there. Engine you need, transmission, turbo, suspension, wheels, it's all the same. Exhaust, just upgrade it. The hood, you can do the carbon fiber if you want. It's not that big of a deal. Spoiler, do not do a spoiler. That's the biggest thing, I think, and that's it. There isn't anything else for customizations. It's as easy as that. It's a super easy build. Again, engine, transmission, and turbo with the sport suspension or the street suspension. One or the other. We got SUV tires. You can use muscle, you can use sports, you can put it's going to be up to you how you build it. But once you do it, you're not going to be able just to drift it up normally. You need to stance it. So that's the whole thing. Oh, mod, he's not using mods. Yeah, who's he trying to kid? I'm not using any mod. So which is the better car? Well, if you want my opinion, and this is literally just an opinion, this is the better car. But better car doesn't mean anything to you. It matters where you're at in drifting, what your next stepping stone is. Because if you're just trying to skip over the slower drifting technique and go right into the faster one, then you're probably going to want to start with the Schwarzer. If you've been single gear drifting technique for 6 months or longer, you probably just want to go right into the Rapid GT and test it out. Maybe you still want to go in the Schwarzer. I always suggest going from the Futo to the Schwarzer to the Rapid GT to the Banshee 900R. That's how I started. That's how I would suggest it if you haven't started. Go check out the tutorials in the past to go get it done. I hope this video really did clear up a lot of misclarifications on a lot of stuff. And keep in mind, obviously, if you didn't have this in your mind, this is not meant for the competitive drifter out there that's been drifting for 4 years in the game. I'm talking to people that are new in the realm and are interested in knowing what the next car is, or the car that they should start with. Here's some examples of cars that drift in the game, and you will be getting to see a video coming up soon of the top 10 drift cars after we see the Datsun release. I need to see if that car drifts first. Then I'm going to be making that video up, and you guys will get to feast your eyes on some more information. Alright. I appreciate all you guys tuning in, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing these videos if you are sharing these videos. You guys helping this channel grow is the only reason it is growing, other than me posting videos and spending all my time on it. You know, maybe that might be a reason it's growing too. Anyways, guys, as always, I hope you all stay happy, stay positive, and we will definitely speak to you next time.